Hello, my dear kiddos. Hope you all are doing good. So, today we are going to see part 6 of the PYQ marathon. Of course, we are seeing NEET 2024 question paper, and the paper code is R1. And today we are starting the zoology questions. The 10 questions, that is from 51 to 60, is what we are going to see. And before seeing the question, the concepts covered in this session about pons, hypothalamus, medulla, cerebellum, respiration, and gastric secretion control. What are neurosecretory cells, posture and balance regulation, and brain region connectivity? So these are the topics covered in the next set of 10 questions. So let us begin without any further delay. Here goes the first question. Match list 1 and list 2. Choose the correct answer from the options given below. List 1. Pons, hypothalamus, medulla, cerebellum. List 2. Provides additional space for neurons, regulates posture and balance, controls respiration and gastric secretion, connects different region of the brain, neurosecretory cells. Come on, children, think. So you have been learning this from grade 10, right? You know what is pons, hypothalamus, medulla, cerebellum, their functions. You've all learned from grade 10, right? So this is a very simple question. Match ABCD with 1, 2, 3, 4 and then pick the answer. If you find it difficult, also apply the elimination method. Yeah. So here goes 3, 2, 1. Your time starts now. Yeah. And the answer is A. Student, pons, if you see, yes, it definitely connects different regions of the brain, right? And also responsible for breathing, but it truly connects different region of the brain, which is very true. And hypothalamus, if you see, it is the site for hunger and thirst is what we see. In that case, of course, they are neurosecretory cells, right? So which is responsible for controlling hunger, thirst and all. And medulla, of course, it controls respiration and gastric secretion. So I'll show you the answer slide. See, the pons connects different parts of the brain. Hypothalamus, of course, it has neurosecretory cell, which is important for controlling different hormones and bodily functions like temperature, hunger and thirst. Yeah. And medulla helps in breathing and release digestive juices. Cerebellum, body balance and posture, which is very, very important question right from grade 10. Yeah. So the answer is option A. Next one. Which of the following is not a component of fallopian tube? Isthmus, infundibulum, ampulla, uterine fundus. If you people are watching my shorts constantly, all these questions become super easy. Your time starts 3, 2, 1 right now. Yeah. So not a component of fallopian tube is uterine fundus because it's a component of uterus. It's the cap of the uterus, right? Whereas you have the ampulla, the infundibulum, ampulla and the isthmus are the parts of the fallopian tube, the isthmic junction, right? The ampulla isthmic junction is where the fertilization happens. So, you know, these are parts of fallopian tube, whereas uterine fundus is not. Next one. The TI plasmid of Agrobacterium tumefaciens stand for tumor independent plasmid, tumor inducing plasmid, temperature independent plasmid, tumor inhibiting plasmid. So, definitely it's an easy type. Your time starts 3, 2, 1 right now. Okay, here is the answer. Tumor inducing, it induces the tumor, right? So the TI plasmid is found in Agrobacterium tumefaciens. It plays a key role in tumor formation, right? So basically the plasmid will contain the genes, right, to get integrated itself to the plant genome. As a result, the plant will start growing uncontrollable proliferation leading to tumors, right? We call it the ground balls. Yes. Match list 1 to list 2. Very, very important. Expiratory capacity, functional residual capacity, vital capacity, inspiratory capacity. And you have to match that with list 2. Which one is expiratory reserve volume plus tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume? Tidal volume plus expiratory reserve volume. Tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume. Expiratory reserve volume plus residual volume. So what do you think? Very, very, very important. Whenever you learn the topic breathing, right, that is about your respiratory system, you have to know this. It's a compulsion. Your time starts 3, 2, 1 right now. Okay, the answer is option D. Children, two things are very easy here, right? Expiratory capacity, inspiratory capacity. Expiratory capacity is tidal volume plus expiratory reserve volume. Inspiratory capacity is tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume. So A2, D3, that you know for very sure. So only one option has that as a choice, right? Option D. That is very easy, right? And the functional residual capacity you always have to find for the term residual volume has to be there. So it's expiratory reserve volume plus residual volume, 4, B4. And vital capacity is very sure, expiratory reserve volume plus tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume. That you all know. Basically, expiratory capacity refers to the amount of air a person can breathe out after a normal inspiration. Inspiratory capacity is maximum amount of air a person can inhale after normal expiration. And the residual capacity, the air remaining in the lungs even after normal expiration, and vital capacity is the maximum amount of air a person can exhale after maximum inhalation. Okay, very important, mark it very important. Given below are two statements. One is assertion, reason. Find the right answer. Assertion, if you see, FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, acts upon ovarian follicles in female and Leydig cells in male. True or false? Reason, growing ovarian follicles secrete estrogen in female while interstitial cells secrete androgen in male human being. So what do you think about these two? Is the assertion, reason, both are true, but reason is not correctly explaining assertion. Assertion true, reason false. Assertion false, reason true. Both assertion, reason are true, but reason is the correct explanation of the. A very, very simple question. You have to pay attention. Read every line carefully. Your time starts now. Come on, everybody. Think and answer. The answer is nothing but, children, what is the mistake here? In the assertion, if you see, FSH acting upon ovarian follicle in female, they are saying. That is true. But, and Leydig cell in male, no. FSH will stimulate the Sertoli cells. Correct. LH is the one. Luteinizing hormone is the one which will stimulate the Leydig cell. If you have seen my previous lecture, I would have taught you LH and Leydig cell. So that is wrong here. So assertion is definitely false. Look for the reason. Growing ovarian follicle secretes estrogen. That is true in female. And interstitial cells are nothing but the Leydig cells, right? They secrete androgen is nothing but testosterone. That is very true. So assertion is false, but reason is true. So the answer is option C. Okay, I have added the explanation slide. You can go through it. You can pause the video and read it. Okay, next, sixth question. List 1 and list 2. List 1, lipase, nuclease, protease, amylase. List 2, peptide bond, ester bond, glycosidic bond and phosphodiester bond. So please match it. Find the right answer. Ma'am, I know two things for sure. Even with that, you can find the right answer. Yeah? Come on. 3, 2, 1. Your time starts now. Okay, great. So children, here is a clue. Okay, you all know that the DNA has phosphodiester bonds in between. So nuclease is something which will act upon the nucleic acid like DNA and RNA, right? So nuclease will be definitely related to phosphodiester bond. Correct? So B is 4. Which is saying B as 4. Only one option is saying, but don't conclude with that. Look for another. You all are learning from grade 10 that protease are enzymes which acts upon proteins. Proteins will generally have peptide bonds between them. That is, the amino acids will generally have peptide bonds. That makes protein. So C is related to 1. So B4C1. So definitely option B is the right answer. Yeah. And lipase, of course, very easy. They act on the ester bonds. And then you have the amylase acting upon the glycosidic bonds. Because the amylase and all, if you see, the carbohydrate chain is joined together by the glycosidic bond. That forms the starch, right? Yeah. So lipase on ester bonds, nuclease on phosphodiester bonds, protease acts on the peptide bonds and amylase on the glycosidic bonds. Question number 7. Given below are some stages of human evolution. Arrange them in the correct sequence. Past to recent. Okay, from past, earliest to the recent. Homo habilis, Homo sapiens, Homo neanderthalensis, Homo erectus. Choose the correct sequence. BADC, CBDA, ADCB, DACB. What do you think? Again, a very simple question. Just concentrate and pick the right answer. Your time starts 3, 2, 1 right now. Okay, so the answer is, children, the oldest form is habilis. Then comes the erectus. Then comes the Neanderthals. And then comes the Homo sapiens. So which means ADCB is the answer, option C. Correct? Yeah. Habilis, who used the simple tools. Yeah, the tool makers. Homo erectus, who used advanced tools. Neanderthals, which has robust body and adapted to cold climates. And then the modern humans, Homo sapiens. Right. Which of the following are autoimmune disorders? Myasthenia gravis, rheumatoid arthritis, gout, muscular dystrophy, systemic lupus, erythematosus, SLE we refer. Choose the most appropriate answer, ABE, BCE, CDE, ABD. What do you think? Your time starts 3, 2, 1. Okay, children, this is very easy. You should generally have handful of example for the diseases, right? So when they ask you 4 examples of autoimmune disease, definitely myasthenia gravis, rheumatoid arthritis, systemic lupus, all these will fall. But gout, if you see, is accumulation of uric acid in the joints. Muscular dystrophy is a genetic condition. So C and D definitely not. So ABE means it is option A, right? See? Yeah, when the immune system mistakenly attacks the body's own cells, the self cells, you call it autoimmune diseases. Whereas gout and all is buildup of uric acid crystal in the joint causing pain and inflammation. Dystrophy is a genetic disorder which causes muscle to weaken. All right. Ninth question, choose the correct answer from the options given below. Common cold, hemozoin, viral test, allergy. This side you have plasmodium, typhoid, rhinoviruses and dust mites. Come on. 3, 2, 1, your time starts now. Okay, children, very simple. You all know two things for sure, which is very easy. Common cold caused by rhinoviruses and allergy. Usually the dust is related to allergy, right? So the dust mites and allergy. So A3D4, which option says that? A3D4, you can find only in option B. Yeah. And if you see hemozoin, yeah, that is related to plasmodium, and the viral test for typhoid. So here is the answer slide. Yeah, hemozoin is a waste product released in the blood when plasmodium breaks down the red blood cell, right? And viral test is a diagnostic tool to detect typhoid fever. Yeah, and the common trigger for the allergy is generally the dust mites. So option B is the right one. Match list 1 and list 2, the last and the final question for this session. Choose the correct answer. Axoneme, cartwheel pattern, crista, satellite, this side, centriole, cilia, flagella, chromosome and mitochondria. Simple. 3, 2, 1, your time starts now. Again from grade 9 you are learning all this. Simple, children, you all know that. Axoneme is related to cilia, flagella, cartwheel for centriole, crista for mitochondria, satellite for chromosome. Very simple, right? So the answer is option C. Yeah, very, very simple. This you are learning from grade 9, no problem. Such a simple question. With that, we are completing today's session. 10 awesome zoology questions and 40 more to go. So keep watching all the 5 parts, previous 5 parts, and this is the 6th part. And stay tuned for the 7th part. Prepare yourself and let us see the 7th part. But before that, tada, bye bye, take care. And if you have any queries, do contact the mail ID. And yeah, do like and subscribe. Bye bye.